lot of implications from this case, as you can tell. It has a great deal of room for expansion because a lot of people helped Joe Biden with this terrible lie that he told. Joe Biden has spent his life telling lies, getting away with it. Now he gets away with it because you let him get away with it. You foisted it on us, I mean the press, an American president who is a pathological liar. That has implications for national security.
I know what you're all wondering. Did Rudy Giuliani sit on a newly painted white bench? Is that why he has that weird white stripe in the back of his sports coat? I don't know, but the American people deserve to know. Now, what was this presser all about? Rudy Giuliani has announced that he has filed a lawsuit, a defamation lawsuit against Joe Biden, the president of the United States, because he referred to Giuliani as a Russian pawn back in October of 2020. Now here's more of Rudy Giuliani explaining why he's moving forward with this, even though he's losing lawyers because he's not paying his legal fees. Let's watch.
As a result of Joe Biden's lies, people have died. Would there be a war in Ukraine? Donald Trump a president? So in some ways, the damage done to me is less severe. He didn't get me killed, although there have been death threats. His lies cost me a good deal of my law practice. It cost me directly a good deal of my million-person audience on Common Sense, where I was cut off by YouTube, which operates as a co-conspirator in another conspiracy of Biden's, which is to suppress free speech. It cost me clients in my consulting business. I haven't calculated the amount. We could do that later, but it's in the millions and millions of dollars. Being called a Russian pawn and being called by the leading candidate of the Democratic Party, facilitator of Russian disinformation, is an extraordinarily damaging thing.
Now he's talking about all of the financial issues he's experienced because he's trying to make a case that he suffered damages as a result of what Biden had to say. So let's get into some details. Actually, before we do it, Cenk, do you have any brief comments about this?
Yeah, so I'm amused that he's worried about losing his million-person audience. Everybody's just become a streamer. Even Rudy Giuliani, he's like, I'm suing Biden because he cost me my YouTube audience. That's amazing. And it's impossible to stop looking at that stripe.
What is that stripe?
Yeah, did he rip his jacket? Is that why he's holding it like this?
I don't know.
The most distracting piece of clothing I have seen in a long time. I don't know if his jacket is leaking like his face leaked at the other press conference. Of course, we're gonna get to what utter nonsense this is in a minute.
Yes, let's do that now actually. So here are the details. So in this new lawsuit filed Wednesday in New Hampshire, I should say, Giuliani's lawyers contend that Biden defamed Giuliani twice during a televised debate with President Donald Trump on October 22nd of 2020. It's just that he wanted to wait 3 years to do something about it. When Biden was a candidate seeking the White House, the lawsuit alleges that at 2 points during the debate, Biden falsely accused Giuliani of being a Russian pawn and dismissed Giuliani's criticisms of his son Hunter's laptop, claiming that the ex-mayor believed a bunch of garbage. So let's give you the examples, okay? The moments in question during that 2020 debate. In the first statement, Biden was answering a question about combating foreign election interference, and after hesitation, he mentioned Rudy Giuliani. Let's watch.
Where we have foreign countries trying to interfere in the outcome of our election. His own national security advisor told him that what is happening with his buddy, I will. His buddy, Rudy Giuliani, he's being used as a Russian pawn. He's being fed information that is Russian, that is not true. And then what happens? Nothing happens. And then you find out that everything that's going on here about Russia is wanting to make sure that I do not get elected the next president of the United States because they know I know them.
And then later in the debate, after Donald Trump mentioned Hunter's laptop from hell, referring to, of course, Hunter Biden's infamous laptop, Biden said something else that Giuliani claims is defamatory. Let's watch.
And I have to respond to that.
Please,
because look,
very quickly.
there are 50 former national intelligence folks who said that what he's accusing me of is a Russian plan. They have said that this has all the 5 former heads of the CIA, both parties say what he's saying is a bunch of garbage. Nobody believes it except his and his good friend Rudy Giuliani.
You mean the laptop is now another Russia hoax?
That's exactly what.
Is this where you're
exactly
going?
What
this is
told.
Where he's going. The laptop is Russia,
Gentlemen,
Russia.
I want to. Now look, fast forward to 3 years later, we know that it was not part of a Russian plot. Hunter Biden was struggling with addiction when he left his laptop at a laptop repair shop. That individual handed the laptop over to political opponents, and those political opponents used it to their advantage. There's no evidence that Russia is involved in that at all. But at the time, to Biden's credit, I guess, or to actually give him, to be fair to him, that was the dominant narrative, and there were members of the intelligence community who were alleging that it was part of a Russian plot to destroy Biden's chances of winning.
You know what I got out of those clips? Biden could barely speak back then.
Yeah.
I mean, that first one was just a word salad. And I'm not sure you could sue over word salads. They're kind of unintelligible to begin with. But the idea that Rudy could sue him for Biden saying he's full of malarkey is absurd. Guys, unfortunately in this country, politicians are allowed to lie. They literally have a legal right to lie.
They do, they're protected in the form of a debate, during a press conference. They are, in political ads, they are literally allowed to lie, even engage in defamation, and they're protected.
Yeah, and so this suit has no chance of working, none. There's nothing more political than the president of the United States or someone running as a presidential candidate. I mean, if people could sue over damaging lies, Donald Trump would have been sued 2,000, 10,000, 20,000 times by now on a personal level for the lies that he's told about other people. But you can't, it's not possible. So, I mean, this is an act of incredible desperation.
It really is.
Yeah.
And look, the argument that Giuliani is trying, look, in order to win a defamation suit, you also have to prove damages. So first of all, because of the fact that Joe Biden is a politician, a public official, he's not gonna be able to win a defamation suit against Biden, okay? But even if we lived in a world where he could, right? That protection for politicians didn't exist. The fact of the matter is Giuliani would have to prove that Biden's statements led to real financial harm, that it really destroyed his reputation, and that translated to certain damages, right? Loss of income. But the problem with Rudy Giuliani is that he himself engages in behavior that has led to loss of income, that has led to him losing, his ability to practice law, for instance. Let me give you a few examples. Here's a reminder of just a few things in the Noel Dunphy lawsuit.
The lawsuit also alleges Giuliani, a personal attorney to then-President Trump, told Dunphy Trump's team would claim there was voter fraud if he lost the 2020 election. In another instance, Giuliani allegedly said he was selling pardons for $2 million, which he and President Trump would split.
There's also Giuliani's involvement in installing fake electors or attempting to overturn the 2020 presidential election. I mean, it's just like one issue after another. The list goes on and on. Former employee of his, female employee, alleging that he sexually assaulted her. I just think it's gonna be real tough for Giuliani to come out of this as the winner in any way.
No, it's not real tough. It's totally impossible.
Impossible, yeah.
Yeah, and by the way, then Biden could countersue and say, okay, you don't even have the protection that Biden has as a politician, because technically Rudy's not a politician. And how about the lies that Rudy's told about Joe Biden? Oh, he stole the election. He worked with nefarious. I don't know if he was the one who said Hugo Chavez or the Kraken or the mules or the dumps, right? But insane lie after insane lie. Joe Biden would have an infinitely better case against Rudy Giuliani if he could sue for defamation over political lies. But Biden wouldn't win either, and Rudy has no chance of winning this. This means I am so broke. I am so out of money. I don't know how to get money. I don't know. I'm told like I need something desperately. Maybe they'll settle. But he's the president. He's not gonna settle, you schmuck. No,
he's not gonna settle. Okay, but Rudy, you need lawyers to pursue this. You got to pay the lawyers. The lawyers that you haven't paid are dropping like flies. Like, what is he doing?
No, Rudy's a lawyer. He knows this suit has no chance. Either his brain is completely melted, which is totally plausible, or he is in dire straits, super desperate. And the way that Trump plays with him is disgusting. Like he's like, oh yeah, Rudy, I'll pay a tiny piece of your legal bills, like 5 or 10%. Oh, you did all this stuff for me. You destroyed your career, your reputation. You look like my Uygur. That's how people will remember you, not as America's mayor, but as like Frankenstein's Uygur. But no, I won't pay for your legal defenses. Go rot in the streets. Rudy, when are you gonna get it through your leaking head that your problem isn't Biden, it's Trump?
Yeah, that's true, but if Trump asked him to jump off a cliff, would he jump off a cliff? Like at some point, you got to take some personal responsibility and lay in the bed you made.
For sure. I mean, at this point, he might literally jump off a cliff. I mean, his career jumped off a cliff for Donald Trump.
His reputation, his legacy, everything.
Everything. He lost everything. And Trump won't even help him because he's the worst person in the world.
He did host a fundraiser for Rudy Giuliani.
Oh, wow.
He did do that.
Dude, Trump's got hundreds of millions of dollars in that legal defense fund. And he won't even give it to his theoretical like best buddy, the guy who stuck up for him through everything. Imagine that your best friend did that for you and ruined his life. And you're sitting on hundreds of millions of dollars and you won't give him anything. You'll hold a fundraiser so other people will give him money. And that's not even anywhere near enough. And you see him doing desperate things like this, still unmoved by it. Trump thinks anyone who helps him is a sucker or a loser and had it coming. By the way, including his voters.
If you enjoyed this video, that's because of our members. They make us independent, they make us strong, and they make us honest. Become a member today by hitting the join button below.